Hi Stampers, it's Nancy Novak from stampandshout.com. Welcome to my weekly video where I am going to show you today some table decor items. So I made a lot of cards, but I think it's time to start making some other items too. But of course we're going to make cards. In fact, I do have a card I'm going to share with you tonight. But here is a Thanksgiving table placeholder that I created. And it closes like that, but then it opens up and props up on the table or on your plate. Then I made a few more for the Christmas holidays, and I just think these turned out so cute. I just love these. So these obviously you could just set on the plates, or you could scatter them across your table depending on what kind of table setting you have, you know, maybe with the stream of greenery through here, or you could hang them up. They do have a, you know, if you want, you can attach a little ribbon there. But anyways, we're going to make these, and I'm going to give you lots of tips on using this bundle. It's called Ringed in Nature, so it comes with a stamp set, and it covers lots of holidays, but it also covers general themes, thinking of you, just for you, get well soon. So it covers a lot, and it's a lot of fun to use. It comes with a die set like this, and it also comes with the embossing folder that gives it that ringed look on all of the little tree slices. So this cuts out all your little tree slices. This embosses it, and then here are all your little accent pieces. I use this little piece for the stem in my pumpkin. You got lots of leaves and sprigs and even a little mushroom. So I'm going to talk about how to use this and how to use it wisely so you're not wasting a lot of paper. As we're going along, I'll explain that all to you. So let's get started. So this is called a center panel step card, or a center panel easel card. And I kind of adapted it, made it a little bit smaller so it'd be nice for the table size. So it's not a complete A2 size, you know, 5.5 by 8.5, all that stuff. But I'm going to have all the directions also on my blog, so don't worry about that. So I'm starting off with a piece of cardstock pumpkin pie that is 8.5 by 4.25, and I scored it at 4.25. Let me just find my bone folder here. So we're going to go ahead and crease that right on our score line, and this is how we're going to start. I also have a piece of white cardstock that's going to go on the inside, and this is 4 by 3.5. I have this little piece that I cut out using the contour, scallop contour dies. So this is a great thing. I use it for so many different projects. So I cut this little piece out of pumpkin pie. Then I have some designer series scraps. And this paper is from the Merry Everything. Oh my gosh, you get 48 double-sided sheets, cover all your holidays, and just even generic little patterns on the back. So I have some DSP strips. And let me just tell you really quick, even though this will be on my blog, the DSP I have, this one is 2 3/4 by 1 7/8. Then I have 2 that are cut at 3/8 by 4, and I have 1 that's 3/8 by 3. Then I have a piece of scrap paper that I'm going to use for my sentiment. So let's see, what do I want to tell you first? Also, I want to mention I used the Happy Thanksgiving that is in the Painted Pheasant stamp set. So you could put Happy Thanksgiving, you could put Grateful, whichever you prefer. And so now we have that scored. Let me bring in my scoreboard because I'm going to score this one more time. So I'm going to open this up. There's my score line at 4.25. And hang on, I got to do some cutting before I score here. Let's do the cutting first and then we'll score it. So there's my score line. That's going to be my front. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a strip that's 5/8 on each end. So 5/8. And I'm only going to cut down to the score line. let's line this up. So I'm going down to my score line. Let me take a peek. Perfect. Hold this tight so it doesn't move. So we cut that strip. Now I'm going to cut on the other end another 5/8 strip. So I'm lining it up at the 5/8 and cutting right down to the score line, just like that. Okay. So let me show you. That's going to be the front. So I'm going to bring my scoreboard in now because I want to fold this in half. And you could fold it, but I'm going to be really careful and use my scoreboard so I get a nice little even line. So there's the front of my card. I'm lining it up and I'm going to score it at 2 1/8. But I'm only going to score this main piece, not those strips. So I'm lining it up at 2 1/8, and when I get to that center part, I'm going to score it. Just like that. Okay, we got all that done. So now we can fold this, give it a good crease, and that's going to be our little easel. Okay, next thing we got to do before we do anything else is bring in this white piece, and this piece fits right here in the middle, just like that. And we're going to glue that down. Just center it. Just like that. Now I'm going to glue these strips down. Got a little bit of glue there. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some glue on this strip. And I'm going to give you a little tip here. So when you're folding this down, you want to be a little bit careful. You want to make sure that you're lining this edge up with this edge, because it has a tendency, because it's just a little flipsy and flopsy, it might want to move to the center a little bit and it won't be evenly lined. So we just want to make sure, we're going to help it, make sure it's lined up this way. So on this one, just like I said, you don't, sometimes when you fold it, it wants to move over too much. So you just have to be a little bit careful when you're gluing that down. So again, I want to make sure it's lined up with the edge, just like that. Okay, so now this is going to be our little easel. Okay, let me show you how to put that together. So we can go ahead and put on our designer series paper. So I'm going to lay this strip right here. And if you wanted, you could put one on the back too, but I kind of like that bright orange showing. I didn't want too much of the designer series paper on there, but depending on what paper you choose to use, you might want to add some to the back too. So I am just going to center this piece right there. And then I have my two strips that I'm going to lay on each side. Just glue those down. So isn't this quick and easy? So we're just going to center that in that strip like that. Okay, then for this is going to hold up our easel. And here's a scrap that's about 5/8. It's going to be 5/8 by whatever this is right here, about 2 inches. And this Happy Thanksgiving stamp, as soon as I find it, fits perfectly right in the center of that. So just let me find my stamp. I thought I had everything out. Here it is. Okay, so we got Happy Thanksgiving. And what color am I going to do that in? I'm going to do that in Shaded Spruce. Okay, we'll see if I can fit this on here, because I know when I did it originally, I had a larger piece and then I cut it down. perfect. Yay, good job, Nancy. Okay, so now I am going to trim this down right to each end, and then it'll fit perfectly on that little scalloped piece. And I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals. And again, it fits perfectly right in the center here. And we need to pop this up. That is what's going to hold our easel up. So that is very important. It has to be popped up. And I want this easel to be about, wherever I want it to be, about 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. So I have a little piece of paper here, and I'm going to put this right there, and that's what holds our easel up, just like that. Now, you can put this little strip right here, which I think looks really pretty, and we're going to do that, but you could also put a name there. So if you actually want to put a person's name there, or maybe you want this out for your buffet, maybe you have some food, different foods that you want to mention what they are, like macaroni and cheese or whatever you have. But I'm going to put that there. But again, if you want, you could put your little name just like that. So I thought that was pretty. Now that's pretty just like it is. You don't even have to do anything more, but of course we are. So here's where I'm going to give you a little tip on using that bundle. So what you're going to do, and I have these measurements, you're going to start off with a square of whatever color you want the background to be. And for mine, for this pumpkin that I used, I think I have this written down here somewhere. It's 2 3/4 by 2, and then the pumpkin square that I cut out was 2 1/8 by 2 1/4. So I started off with the square, and then this little die, you want the cutting edge up, and if you're confused as to which way it goes, you just have to play with it. So okay, just like that. Okay, so it fits just like that. But the cutting side, the way that I found it, the way I found how it fits, the cutting side is down. So I am going to close it and flip it over just like that. So you just have to play with it. And it actually, when I say play with it, it fits right in here. It's not moving. Then you take your square and whichever size you want to cut out. And on this one, on this little Thanksgiving placeholder, it was this one right here. So I laid my square down there, closed it up, and then I ran it through my cutting machine, and I ended up with this. Now this square happens to be for our next project, and I used the largest circle. So I laid it down like that, closed it, and ran it through the cutting machine. So what that does is it cuts out your circle, and it cuts out that texture. So you don't have to use a whole piece in there. You don't want to put a whole piece in there and waste a lot of it. So you want to use it little squares. That's your best way to do it. Okay. So we are going to glue this little orange or pumpkin piece onto this piece. And when you look at it close up, you can find the right way, and it kind of just all matches. So once I find it, I'm going to show it to you. Okay, so it goes like this, and it has these little notches that fit with the little notches on the underside piece. It just makes it so it fits nice and neat. So we're going to glue this on, and it fits, like I said, right in there nicely. And if you don't find it, it's going to be fine. It can just go on there centered. It's perfect. And then I have the little tiny pumpkin stalk. Let's see, which way do I want my pumpkin to go? Okay, so I'm just going to put a little dab of glue. And give my pumpkin a little stalk there. Then I went ahead and I cut out a leaf. And again, this is all part of this bundle. So I cut a leaf and I cut that out of shaded spruce. And I'm just going to attach that. So what I'm going to do, as you can see, there is a little bit of a line, the veins of the leaf. So you just kind of want to play with it and look where it fits the best. I'm looking closely. And I'm going to put mine like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put glue on that leaf right there. And lay that down. And if you want, you could add a little bow. So let me bring out this linen thread. And I'm just going to tie a little bow here. And I'm going to put that on with a little glue dot. So if your linen thread or any of your baker's twine or whatever is rolling up on you, what you should do first is kind of straighten it out. And I didn't do that with this, but let me show you what I mean once we get this done. So I'm going to bring in another couple of dimensionals. So basically on that linen thread, what you want to do is you just want to straighten it out a little bit, you know, with your fingers, and then you won't have that deep curl or fold how it was on the cardboard. It kind of straightens it out for you. Okay, so let's put this on our pretty table decor item. And there you go. So what do you think? Isn't that just so cute? I'm going to put that on each one of the plates. Luckily, I only have to make 6. So it's not too bad. I got 2 done, 4 to go. Aren't those cute? I just think they are. So I hope you like that one. Now let's bring in our next project. So here are the little holiday Christmas table holders or table decor items. And for that, I went ahead and I ran through with early espresso. Now this one is soft suede. This one's early espresso, and then a piece of black. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I'm going to do this one. I'm going to do this one so you can see it a little better. I'm going to do this one in crumb cake, like that. Okay. So before I attach this, I am going to stamp with this, and I'm going to heat emboss it. But again, I started off with my squares, and these are 2 3/4 by 3, and that's going to be for the largest tree slice. And then the black, which fits inside of it, let me show you this. So we cut out this before, which is this large one. And now for this one, I'm using this, just the circle. So I just laid that on. I thought I had some black here to show you, black paper. I don't. I do it somewhere. But so I just laid that on my cardstock and ran it through. I did not use the embossing folder. I didn't want the lines on it because I'm going to go ahead and put my sentiment on there. But that piece cuts the smaller piece that fits inside of this ring. Oops, I don't want to lose all this stuff. Let me put it back just like that. Okay, so Again, so you want to start with your squares. Go ahead and cut out your circles to fit. So we're going to do these two. And again, this will fit right in the notches. You just have to look at it and play with it and find out which way it goes. And mine goes just like that. Okay, so when I glue it, it's going to be, these little notches are going to fit in there and line up just perfectly. So let me bring in my Versamark and sentiments. So I got my sentiments from the Framed and Festive, which is a brand new stamp set that's out for a limited time. And I used the Fa La 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 and the Noel. So there's that one and the Noel. And then for the other one, I use sentiments that can be found in the stamp set called Brightest Glow. This has amazing sentiments. So it has 'Tis the Season, Happy New Year, Joy, and All is Merry and Bright. So I used Joy and All is Merry and Bright. So for this one, I think I am going to do Noel. I like the font of that. I like it. See what I was doing? I was stamping it up in the lid. I think I need a little bit of Versamark. So this is going to go like this. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp that in Versamark. Then I'm going to bring in my little embossing toolkit. And I'll make sure this is all cleaned out. Whenever I use it after I'm done, I like to clean it out, make sure it's all clean, doesn't have any other powder in there. And I think we're good. So I'm going to bring in white embossing powder. So this little tray is so cool because it holds all your embossing powder in there nice and neat. And then when you're done, you can just pour it back in the bottle. Plus, it comes with these cute little tweezers and this little brush. And it comes with the little embossing buddy that gets rid of all the little static that's on your cardstock. And no, I did not use that this time, did I? I think we're going to be okay. So put that off to the side for a second and show you how this works. You just unscrew this and put that back into the bottle. So I like this a lot because I don't have, I just want my embossing powder when I need it. I don't keep it in a big old container. I always keep it in the jars. So for me, this works out really good. Just put this back on when you're done. And everything is all nice and clean. So let's heat emboss this. I'm going to turn this on for a bit and let it get hot. You can hold it like that. There we go. Okay, so this is just going to be glued to that larger piece, and then we'll add our pretty bow and stems. Just like that. And then, again, I cut out earlier with this little sprig that's in the die set. The sprig is right there. So I cut that out of Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to bring in my little red Stampin' Blend. Oh, here's that black piece I was looking for. Oh, I got to tell you one more thing before we finish, but let me get out a scrap before I forget what I'm doing. Okay, we'll finish this in 1 second. I wanted to talk about, let's go back to this first Thanksgiving placeholder. This was important and I wanted to tell it to you. So here's your cardstock, and of course I used pumpkin pie. This is just to show you an example. And so what you want to do is, this is 11 by 8.5. Well, you can make 2 placeholders out of 1 piece of cardstock. So what you do is you cut it 4 1/4, 4 1/4, and you end up with this strip right here. This strip right here is enough to cut out a couple of the insides of your pumpkin and enough to cut out 2 of this little scalloped piece. So 1 piece of cardstock can give you 2 placeholders. So I just want to make sure I told you that before I forgot. Okay, so Stampin' Blend, this is the dark real red, and I'm just going to go ahead and color in these little dots on here. And I just want to make sure I'm coloring in the right side, because if you look at it really close, it does have little lines on it, like the leaf veins. It's really pretty. So we're just going to color these in real simple and quick. Add a little pizzazz to our pretty little tree slice here. And so then you're just going to play with it a little bit and decide how they fit best. And you're going to glue that on. You're going to basically put glue on the leaves. Like that. And like that. Then we're going to bring in some of this beautiful, I love this ribbon, the black and white gingham. And we're going to tie a little bow. And glue dots. Just amazes me how I can, oh, there they are. So I'm going to put that on with the glue dot. And then let's see, I had this little bit of gold twine somewhere, and I added a little bit of gold to this. But here it is. So I just did the same thing. I just added a little bit of gold, and it just gave it a little bit of shimmer, just a little bit of an accent. Actually, when I did my other one, I was able to stick it right to that same glue dot, just like that. So if you're gonna make these, basically cut out all your circles, cut out all your black circles, go ahead and emboss them all and heat emboss them all at once. You have all your stamps ready to go, and you can just have a little assembly line and make them really, really quick. But aren't they cute? I just love them. And you have, I'm sure you have lots of fonts, but again, I used the Brightest Glow, which has excellent, excellent fonts, you guys. Framed and Festive. This one's for a limited time. Painted Pheasant, that's where I got the Happy Thanksgiving, and of course it has Grateful. And the Ringed in Nature stamp set and the dies. And I also want to show you one other card I made really quick. So if you guys are interested in any of these make and takes, I will send the make and takes out with a $25 purchase at my online store, and then I will mail you the make and takes so you can make your own little table decor and your own little card. So this card here is embossed. The back is embossed. I cut out a white circle and a green circle. I think I actually trimmed the circle down because I wanted it a little bit smaller. That's the Merry Christmas that's in the Ringed with Nature stamp set. So it's really, really pretty. But before I put all this down on my card, before I embossed, I stamped with all the little stamps and leaves in here, just the little different ones. This one here would be good too in the red, but I used the little tinier one. I stamped behind it in Evening Evergreen and what's that one called? Soft Succulent. And then I attached my little poinsettia. So that little poinsettia right there. So again, if you are interested in the make and takes, I can send them out to you. They'll come in your mailbox and you can start creating. Hopefully you liked my projects. Please leave me some comments. Share my posts, share my videos. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I will have all the sizes and dimensions on my blog, and you can always email me with any questions at stampandshout@gmail.com. Thanks again, everyone. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout.